So hello once again and welcome back to the Turn 5 pod. We're here for the Monza review. We're all here this week, which is good. It's nice to see us all again. It's been a couple of weeks, but Nia's patching us next week to go and see some washed up YouTubers who are no longer relevant. Anyway, let's talk Formula One because that's why we're here. One sentence race review, please, Nia. Please, Richard.
Doesn't matter what you do, it's always wrong.
Ben?
Yeah, it's good to see what should have happened the end of last year.
Nia?
It's good to see Dan and Phil next week.
Professionalism at its finest, am I right?
We've literally lasted like a minute of the live recording. 2 minutes if you include the intro that I've sent from Monza. So Nia?
I really don't remember anything. This is
Fair
going
enough.
great for professionalism, but
Yep.
I'm
I'm going to go with
Yeah.
underwhelming finish to what was already a boring race.
Yeah, that's what happens when somebody just disappears off out the front. Lewis
And
Hamilton,
nothing-
2014.
And nothing really happens in the midfield.
Hooray! DRS is
the-
useless at Monza.
If there was midfield action, it would have actually been enjoyable, but nothing happened from the top to the bottom of the grid, and it was just dull.
There was intrigue, though, because Nick de Vries.
Yeah.
Well, props to Nick de Vries getting points on his debut. That's always amazing.
Props to Nick de Vries for hammering in the final nail to Nicholas Latifi's F1 career coffin.
However, Nicholas Latifi will remove that nail with a sweet injection of some coffee cash.
But they've already said that they don't need his cash anymore.
They've said that. But what F1 teams say and what F1 teams actually mean are two very different things.
I think you're forgetting the fact that they got bought out by Donaldson that are way beyond loaded. They really don't need his money anymore.
Oh, can we send coffee to Aston Martin and create the ultimate trifecta?
Oh God, no, please.
Stroll, Daddy's Cash, and Coffee Cash in one team. They would be unstoppable.
It would be a disaster.
They would.
let's do it.
Funny though. Very funny. But yeah, we thank Nick de Vries for burying Nicholas Latifi. Well done.
But Nicholas
Well
Latifi doesn't, does he?
No, but who cares?
Poor bloke. Lost my job.
Mate's washed up. He's gone.
I think he's got enough money to survive.
Yeah. If all else fails, he'll go and drown his sorrows in his copious amounts of Nutella.
And love that's a coffee. But yeah, so before we actually get into the race, let's talk about the experience at Monza.
Yeah, because we
As-
all experienced Monza. Yeah.
That's
As we've
very
seen-
comfy settee.
I was sat right here.
As you may have seen on social media, it was a disaster, to say the least. Only portable toilets available, no actual permanent toilets at the track. Very little access to food and drink. You couldn't just go up and buy food and drink. That wasn't well advertised either. I got to the front of the queue. I was like, "Can I get a Fanta, please? 3 tokens." What the fuck are tokens? Then had to queue for tokens and then queue again for the Fanta in like 30-degree heat with no shade. The fan zone wasn't even open on Friday. It wasn't built. How do we get to the start of the race weekend and they haven't even completed the fan zone?
It's Italy.
Yeah. The trains were all on strike on Friday. Just to add to it, the last train home was at 8:10, even though the on-track action didn't finish till 6. So you've got like thousands of people trying to get back to Milan from Lesmo station to be told, yeah, there's 2 trains. And just to top it all off, they ran out of drinks on Sunday before the race even started. It'd be different if it was after the race, fair enough. But before it, how do you run out of water? It's just madness.
Didn't fill up a big enough swimming pool.
So yeah, fans are rightfully very unhappy. And I think F1 might have a bit of a headache from them over the coming weeks.
They'll wipe their tears with the cash that you spent.
Yeah. They'll cry onto their massive pile of tokens.
Oh, no, see, there was no tokens. They ran out of them as well.
Exactly, they had them all backstage.
And yeah, so I've just got like nearly €10 worth of tokens sitting in my pocket because even though they ran out of things to buy, you couldn't get your money back.
Classic.
So much so that I bought this commemorative cup just to spend some tokens. That's how bad it got. But anyway, that's enough moaning about Monza. Let's talk about the race.
Yeah, I think there's going to be more moaning, to be honest.
I had a really good weekend, guys. Why are we moaning?
Because the race was Richard.
Yeah.
Doesn't
We're not on
matter.
about predictions yet. We're not on about
Doesn't matter.
that.
Everything I did was right, and except the lap down showdown. But
Yeah, but
we don't care.
we're speaking all our glory. You know, we have to go through the ball fest of the race first.
Yeah. So lap 1, 5 red lights. Away we go. It looked exciting.
Wait, everyone goes
Quali.
except Norris.
Yeah. Norris just goes, no. Oh yeah, we should probably talk about qualifying first, actually.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a good point, Ben.
Yeah.
Qualifying was fun.
Trying to work out the grid for 6 hours.
Yeah.
To the
But
point
what
that
we-
the FIA released a corrected document because they got it wrong.
What we did know, though, was Leclerc on pole.
Banana Man.
The minions managed it. They put that car on pole position. And to be honest, the atmosphere there was very good. There was a cheer when he went P1. There was a cheer when Sainz went P2. And then there was an even louder cheer when Max went P2.
Yeah, because I mean, I understand that because, like, obviously you cheer when you get P1, but there's still a possibility it's not actually going to be P1. But Max was really the only guy that was going to challenge Leclerc for pole. So when you know he's not P1,
Yeah.
that's
and
the
they
time.
wouldn't really have cared so much if Sainz took P1 because it's still a Ferrari car. And then, yeah, Max P2, massive cheer goes up. And I know people on social media are complaining about Max being booed during the weekend. I don't have a problem with that so much. I don't think...
because you're a Lewis Hamilton fan.
Dodgy.
I genuinely don't see the problem with booing a rival driver because
You're a
you
football
go to the...
fan.
Yeah, you go to the
Yeah.
football and you boo the rival team. You try and...
Yeah, but then in F1, there's tens of teams. So,
Yeah.
and you're all mixed as well. With football, it's like just 2 teams.
And with football, your life's not on the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't like cheer if they crashed or anything, but like when
Wow.
well,
You sure?
I wouldn't personally.
I don't mind if the booing is just sort of he's the antagonist at this particular
Yeah.
circuit, but I did have a bit of a problem with the end of the race and the booing towards Max when clearly the booing was towards the unfolding of events, but it then sort of transpired to only boo when Max is being shown,
Yeah.
like it was his fault, but it's
Like,
not.
I disagree with that.
Like,
Like during the race when Max overtakes Carl, fair enough, boo him
well,
because
yeah,
he's
because that's
overtaken your driver. But don't boo the national anthem.
No.
And boo the safety car finish, yeah, because it's boring. Don't boo Max because he didn't request it. He didn't go to his engineer, make sure they keep the safety car out.
should boo the Mercedes boys for kicking up such fuss over last year and having that so that's how the rules followed now. If we didn't follow the rules and Michael Massey was still there, we'd have probably had a 2-lap shootout, but you know.
Damn rules.
Get him back.
You've shot yourself in the foot and now you've made it boring and everyone's complaining. So Mercedes, you just can't win, can you?
Yeah, Mercedes fans are more complaining because it showed what should have happened at Abu Dhabi 2021.
Yeah, but you know, it shows that the FIA and F1 have implemented change from that.
I'm happy,
but now everyone's like, so go back and void lap 58. It's like, no, that's done.
Right.
Get on.
Hold on a minute. Let me go back.
It's 9 months ago. Get over it. Jesus Christ.
I remember seeing last week as well, like people calling F1 rigged and stuff. Just like, what is going on?
Latifi crashed that 50 foot. No,
it was the fact. It was the fact that a Twitter page for Team Lewis Hamilton on Twitter put out a statement that Lewis Hamilton himself retweeted, and then got so badly received from certain sections of the Team Lewis Hamilton Twitter fan base that the Team Lewis Hamilton Twitter page deleted the statement.
I didn't actually see the statement. What did it
No,
say?
I didn't know this one.
Hang on, I'll have to find it. Here we go. Team Lewis Hamilton put out a statement that said, we 100% understand that everyone's emotions are high right now. No one expected the race to unfold that way when we were so close to a win, but it's important to us that we continue to spread love and empathy towards the hardworking teams in the paddock, whether from our team or others, but especially the women. The language and hateful comments directed at Red Bull's head of strategy, Hannah Schmidt, is intolerable and should not be condoned. This sport is cutthroat, and you have to be ready for absolutely anything, and that's what she did today. There are a lot of positives to take from Lewis's race today, and that's exactly what we are focusing on doing. Thank you for your unwavering support for Lewis Hamilton. We win and we lose together. Like, you know, that's just a good...
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Lewis Hamilton fan base did not agree with that.
I mean, I highly doubt that Red Bull have got buttons on the pit wall that just switch off an AlphaTauri engine.
That'd be major stonks if they did. But at the same time, why would Red Bull risk being thrown out of the Constructors' Championship for something so petty?
I mean, Renault did it.
Yes, but that's Renault, and they were having a season. This is Red Bull, and they are winning by a mile.
But Renault did it.
Yeah, that is also
F1 teams do crazy things.
Yeah, F1 do crazy things when they're losing. There's no point in taking any unnecessary risks when you're over 100 points in the lead.
Oh, yeah, also, absolutely. When Renault done it, I feel like that was a bit in the moment sort of thing as well. Red Bull, that would have been.
There must have been a plan there. There's no way that was in the moment.
Sure.
The
crash.
Surely.
Bruno Senna practiced the spin crash on the formation.
Yeah, did he actually?
Yeah, they must have known.
At that exact location.
Oh my God.
I highly doubt the team just went, hey, Bruno, crash.
I don't know.
Do it
now.
Pit stop.
But they did say, didn't they, on the radio?
So, but yeah, right.
It probably would have been something coded like Plan Z.
That Plan C for crash.
Yeah.
Right.
But-
Should we move back to the present instead of 14 years ago?
Good
It
idea.
was, it's more fun 14 years ago.
What, just because Flavio was in the paddock?
And the cars went.
Yeah.
But
Should we just base next year off like 2009 or something like that? Just go through the season.
Somebody buys Haas for £1 and they
wins.
win. And then 14 years later, Keanu Reeves is doing a docuseries about it.
But anyway, yeah, qualifying. It was actually quite exciting. The fans were getting quite into it. Lots of red flares, not good. Flares bad.
I don't have necessarily a problem with the flares, so long as you don't do what they did at Zandvoort and throw it on the bloody track.
Yeah.
I have a problem when they
When they
They
blow
sort of
over the circuit,
blow over the track. Yeah.
that's an issue. Yeah.
Like one is just okay because that can't. By the time it gets to the track, that's not so bad. Just one, but in like Zandvoort, there's like
Yeah, where it's just a sea of orange.
yeah, there's like at least 50 in a grandstand. That's when it's a problem. Like
When flares are supposedly banned and yet
Yeah.
everyone gets them in anyway.
They were banned at Zandvoort, but they weren't enforcing bag checks.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
and I also don't have a problem with them after the checkered flag.
as soon as everyone is like
Once
in
every
the
car's
pits,
in the pits.
yeah,
Yeah, but what,
Like,
yeah,
while
but
they're
like
still-
the celebrations have started, you know.
yeah. But
Yeah, I
when
don't
there's
have an
still
issue
cars
when
on
the
track
fans are on the
racing,
circuit.
yeah,
Pop a flare, fair enough.
when everyone's on a cool down lap and everyone's past the checkered flag, start setting them off. Okay, fair enough. But while people are still racing, definitely not.
Mm.
It'd also really piss me off if there's a fan in front of me who puts
You
out
just
flare.
couldn't see
Just
anything.
can't see anything.
Max did come over team radio in qualifying though, saying he aborted a lap because he thought he saw a red flag
It was a flare, yeah.
flare. That one I struggle with a little. Flashing bright red board. The flares, at least in my section, weren't very strong. They dissipated quite quickly when they got over the fence. I don't think it would have looked like a red flag. And none of the marshal posts are even reacting. They're all just sort of sitting there like, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe things look a bit different when you're going 200 mile an hour.
perhaps. But yeah, so no flares until everyone's in the pits.
But just no flares at all
Yeah.
until you're out of the circuit.
Or on the circuit. If you're on the track, then
Yeah, just don't drop it on the track.
Well, there's stuff going on, yeah.
well, it doesn't really matter if you drop it on the track after the race because it's just people. There's no cars.
Could damage the track.
Although that being said, I nearly got hit by a moped after the race.
Well, personally,
Was
it
it Seb?
sounds like
Was it
it's
Seb?
your own fault.
Like I was walking down the straight after the Lesmos, and then this moped just appears beside me.
Hey, I'm walking here.
But literally. But
Is it
yeah,
Al Pacino on that moped?
Al Pacino with Seb on the back.
I did see Seb running past the grandstand during the race after he broke down, and it was quite funny.
Where's the guest appearance? Come on.
Yeah.
You spend all that money, you go to Monza, you don't even like get a contact. What's that?
And also quite funny after the race. Obviously, as we know, Ricardo broke down in between the two Lesmos that caused the late safety car. They just left the car hanging from the crane after the race. And so as we're walking past, there's just a flying McLaren. I've got photos of it that I'll send.
You got photos of the underneath.
Yes, I do have photos of the McLaren.
Oh,
I'll send that to some teams.
I
Make
don't
some
know if
money.
anyone wants to copy it, but
Hey, look, they're fourth. I'm sure someone lower down will be interested.
fifth.
To be honest, there's nothing really there. It's very plain. Like, there's a couple of Venturi tunnels and the barge board, but even the barge board's pretty plain. Like, there's nothing to it.
Smooth for minimum air resistance. Still interesting.
But yeah, it was quite funny just seeing a flying McLaren in the trees in Monza. I've also got some photos of Seb's car. I got up close with that because they just left it by the side of the track as well.
Nice.
Italy.
Half the job.
But yeah, so qualifying good. Charles pole. 6 hours later, we finally found out the grid. Everyone was very confused about how penalties work, but I think that's been cleared up now.
So,
yeah, they just take out every driver who's got the penalties ready, don't they?
Yeah,
Then move the
basically.
grid
So
up.
if you qualify P2 with a 5-place penalty, you get moved to 7 and get locked there.
Yeah.
They apply all the penalties in order to see who's going lower down, and then they just fill up the grid.
What happens if someone, say, like, someone has like a 5-place grid penalty, someone has a 10-place grid penalty, and they end up in the same position? So, like, they both end up P15. Would it be whoever got the penalty first?
Whoever qualified higher would get priority.
Okay.
And if they...
That's why everyone that's back of the grid is determined on their qualifying order, because they've technically all got the same position.
But it's
P20,
just...
yeah. And yeah, that is the thing as well. Like, the P20 is like back of the grid is still technically lower than if you end up in P35, because you've got a 15-place grid penalty and qualify 20th. You still start ahead of those.
Any numbered penalty is less than back of the grid. So,
and that's because they used to give out like 60-place grid penalties for a laugh.
Bring it back. It was just easier.
Bring back 60-place grid penalties and have them start there.
I have an 85-place grid penalty. The rest of the grid is on the start line. You are at a Tascari.
Yeah. Go.
They have to use like one of the marshal boards for the green lights.
Speaking of the marshal boards, actually, something, just a very random thing I noticed when I was at Monza. They don't have, do you know how obviously with safety car, they've got the wee white board that they hold out. It's got SC written on it.
Yeah.
They don't have a VS. So they just waved yellow flags. Obviously the flashing board said VSC and all the drivers know because it comes up on their dash. But yeah, they don't have the wee boards. They've got full course yellow ones, which is what like Formula E uses, but no virtual.
Yeah, there's Formula E and WEC, the Endurance Championship.
I think MotoGP maybe use full course yellow as well.
Can't confirm that. I haven't watched it.
I'm not sure
in a long time.
They do.
I've never watched it, but I vaguely remember like seeing it on Twitter or something. So possibly. Don't quite get that.
I think Formula One should just adopt the term full course yellow so that it's the same as every other series rather than virtual safety car. But it is what it is. And yeah, that was just a small thing I noticed when I was watching the marshals. When there were no cars in front of me because we were under a virtual safety car. Shall we get to the break?
Sure, why not? I have just found the post that very lovely demonstrates how the penalties are applied.
All right, pull it up for the viewer.
While we wait, I just went on the MotoGP website to try and find out about full course yellow. And there's a race, which I'm guessing is in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was Welsh and it really threw me off. It looks like Welsh and it threw me off. I've no idea.
Isn't it also called the Gran Premio d'Italia?
It's Gran Premio.
Yes, that famous Welsh saying.
No, because it says Griffin. And like
Premio de Crimru.
Gran Premio Griffin de San Marino. And Griffin is a very Welsh looking word.
In other words,
It
the
says
San
San
Marino Grand
Marino.
Prix
Yeah, but
or the Imola Grand Prix.
Right.
it looked Welsh and everybody threw me off.
I'm not sure if it is Imola. I think they race at a different track. Yeah.
The Misano World Circuit.
Yeah.
It's not Imola then. Interesting.
I feel like MotoGP at Imola could be quite dangerous.
And
This,
credit to whoever made this, and we'll put their social in the comments or something.
right. So this was how qualifying finished, basically. It just runs you through it. So qualifying, Verstappen gets his 5-place grid penalty. Fine. Sainz gets sent to the back of the grid. Fine.
Whee!
Perez, 10 places. Hamilton, back of the grid. So he goes and joins Sainz, but he's behind Sainz because he out-qualified. Bottas, P27. Tsunoda, back of the grid. Magnussen, P34. And Schumacher, P35. So you close up the first bit of the grid. Nice and neat. Verstappen slots in. Close everyone else up. So even though Perez should be P14, because there's not enough drivers in front of him, he's P13. Ditto, Ocon, Bottas, Magnussen, and Schumacher. And then the back of the grid becomes the back of the grid. So, yeah. Nice and neat.
What did they do to get like 15-place grid penalties?
A certain amount of power unit components.
Oh, yeah.
Like some power unit components are worth 5 places, some are worth 10, some send you to the back of the grid.
And some, depending on if it's the first time you've broken it or the second time you've broken it, give you a 10 place and then a 5 place, because that's definitely how it should work.
It's all in the technical regulations if you want to read that bastard of a document, because it's worse than opening reg.
No. I don't. Funny enough.
I think that's the answer of a lot of people as well.
Admittedly, I've never looked at the financial regulations.
It's Mr. Krabs' favourite document to read.
Money, money.
All about money.
How little he's allowed to spend.
It means he can keep more.
I'm actually curious to look at it and see what the penalties are for breaching the financial regulations, but that's the only bit I'm interested in, because we don't really know
We don't know yet. I think Williams got fined because they submitted some paperwork late. But that's the only penalty we've had so far. So,
but yeah, so now that we have the grid, we made it to the race.
Eventually.
Yep. And the start was pretty boring, to be honest.
Norris disagrees.
But Norris's start was even more boring because he just didn't go anywhere.
Norris thought
He
there
just
was
sat
another
there.
formation.
Yeah, 5 red lights, lights out, and away we go. But not Norris. He just sits there and then gets going.
Lights out and away we nope.
No. So poor Lando. Daniel got a half decent start. Ended up running in the podium positions for a bit. But here comes Max Verstappen. That was probably the most excitement we got out of those first couple of laps. He just appeared in P4 after turn 1. And it's like, how did he get there? And by about lap 4, he was in the lead. Admittedly, I'm a little disappointed in Charles. I think he could have put up a bit more of a fight.
I mean, I think that just the pace of the Red Bull was just that much more. Like, Ferrari had the 1 lap pace, but Red Bull had the race pace.
Didn't even seem to try and defend. They just held the line and just watched them drive past. I mean, at least make a move to defend.
I mean, if it's just going to happen anyway, why bother wasting your own time?
Because it wastes theirs as well.
He's holding the line, he's keeping his tyres clean. It's forced him to go offline, get all the rubbish on his tyres. I mean, it's not going to slow him down any. It's Max Verstappen in a Red Bull. But going offline might be extremely detrimental to Charles in his Ferrari because, well, we've seen what the Ferraris are like. It doesn't take much.
Sergio made an early pit stop, and surprisingly enough, kept going despite the fact that his car was literally on fire.
That was an interesting one. I kind of expected him because, like, they joined him again almost a whole lap later, and his brakes were still on fire. And I'm thinking, it's got to be game over, surely. And they're like, no, it's fine. Yeah, carry on.
The smell when he drove past was horrific.
It's just burning carbon.
Yeah, because I was sitting next to a Sergio fan. I only know because the Mexican flag wrapped around them, and we're wearing Red Bull kits, so must have been a Sergio fan. And yeah, they had a big hole that blocked the big screen, which was unfortunate for them. And I was like, he's got to stop. Surely he's got to stop. Like, what's wrong? I'm like, his car's literally on fire. He's on fire. I'm like, no, but his front right brakes are. Look at the screen. You just sort of see them peer around. You can see the smoke, and then the car drives past. Like, can you smell that? That's his brakes.
That's not what a car should smell like.
No. Also, what I did pick up on, I don't know if the TV broadcast picked up on, the Ferrari on the power coming out of the Lesmos scraped across the ground something rotten, because as soon as they put the foot down, this holy sound as it screeched, pulling away. It was not good for the ears at all. So clearly they've not fully solved their bouncing problem.
I mean, that might explain the
Either
radio.
that's just the noise that the Ferrari power unit makes, in which case it's unholy.
Well, that's what I was thinking, because there was a radio message from Ferrari to Charles saying, "Don't short shift out of the corners, like on power." So maybe that's why. Because it's
what set was this during the race? Or
yeah,
because we were hearing it all weekend, FP1, 2, 3, and qualifying.
Maybe it's okay on like short runs, but they're seeing something in the data on the extended run of the race that's like, really don't do this, please.
Yeah, and I think it might be the power unit, because I think the Haas has done it a couple of times. I'm just like, oh, stop, please. But then again, the Haas is literally just a Ferrari, but in white.
And worse.
And worse, yeah. But yeah, so Max took the lead. What happened to Fernando? I was trying to find some water. Retired.
Yeah, is it a radiator problem, was it?
I think so, yeah. He had a radiator leak or something.
Yeah.
Did they retire in the pits?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I
actually,
think so.
before Fernando retired, the very sad moment, Seb pulled over just after Lesmo 2 and stopped. And we got a virtual...
Because it was Seb pulled over and that caused the VSC, but then Alonso and Stroll were both retired in the pits.
I knew Stroll was retired in the pits. I've seen that screen, but I didn't catch Fernando. But yeah, poor Seb. It's his last race in Monza. We know he quite likes the track, so to finish it like that, it's quite sad for him.
He also looks like a prime 80s tennis player now as well.
Oh yeah,
he's got the full-on long hair and the tash.
It's dead funny. Jog past and his hair's just bouncing because he took his helmet off. Which is technically against the rules, but they don't really enforce that rule.
Slow-mo, get it, Baywatch, done.
Like it's supposed to be, if you retire, you need to keep all of your race gear on until you make it back to the paddock. Seb obviously just doesn't care, and the FIA obviously just don't care because there was no investigation.
You're saying nobody really does that if they retire from the race, do they? You always
Lewis
see them at the side of the track, and
Lewis done it
take their helmet off. Kemi done it in Bahrain.
The only time you see them enforce that rule, well, not enforce, but listen to it, is when they're pissed off.
Yeah.
Seb was just sort of jogging past, waving to all the fans.
George took his helmet off it. him hilarious when he lost his points.
I just seen everybody like in general admission standing up with their phones trying to crane over the fence. What's going on? You just see this green suit appear. Oh, Vettel.
It's Sebastian.
And here comes Sebastian Vettel. But yeah, so that happened. Alonso and Stroll retired in the pits. Not very much happened, to be honest. Lewis Hamilton made a nice move at turn 1, 2, overtaking 2 cars toward the end of the race.
Yeah, that was very nice.
Charles boxed for fresh softs and made absolutely zero impact on fresh softs.
I think Ted Kravitz said he was gaining 1/10 a lap.
Yeah.
But he was 16 seconds behind.
Like
8 laps to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was definitely going to catch him.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And then
They had to try some out though.
Ricardo started going slow. First I seen it was the white flags being waved by the marshals.
He was going fine. He got around Lesmo 1 and then the car just went.
Yeah. So I seen a white flag and then also on the screen, yellow flag. Well, it doesn't actually say yellow flag. It just comes up flag and yellow. You're like, oh, okay. Cheers.
Sound.
Yeah. Because on the broadcast, they were showing, I think it was Lando or Lewis in front of him. Then just right at the edge of the screen, you could see just a McLaren just sort of stop. And you see Ricardo's name just drop. You're like, oh, God.
That, to be fair, that was as much as we said.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
We saw it cut to McLaren slowing down. And then we're like, which one is it? Ricardo just tumbles down the timings. L.
The monster curse continues.
Yeah.
And then what are they going to do? Is it going to be a safety car, virtual safety car, full safety car? Do a massive cheer from the fans.
They took their time as well. That took a lap.
It was about a lap before they called it. Cue a massive cheer as the safety car comes out.
Slow stewards, what do we expect?
Well,
slow race control.
Stewards. Yeah, that's just the race
control,
director.
Sorry.
Massive cheer from the fans. I think Charles pitted for fresher softs. I could be wrong.
It was another used set, but they had less taken out of them. They were a younger set.
Yeah, it was maybe like a quality set where he's done 3 laps on them and that's it.
Everyone did the same.
Yep, basically everybody pitted.
Because nobody wanted to make the Lewis Hamilton Abu Dhabi 2021 mistake.
Which shouldn't have been a mistake because we should have finished behind the safety car.
He should have pitted anyway because he had enough time to. I discussed this on the episode. Moving on.
But yeah, so everybody pits. And we're all in the stands going, right, if they clear that car quickly, we can get a lap.
Here's like I said it last year. There's a red flag. Use it.
There is an FIA statement on that, and we will come to it in a few moments. It gets to lap 51, and they just cut to the marshals sitting staring at the car. Well, sort of lap 50, and they're just sort of staring at the car, not doing anything. And I'm sitting there in the crowd like, yes, it's a car. Do you want to move it? Then the crane at lap 51. It's like right race control. If you're going to do anything, you have to throw the red flag now. Nope, no red flag. Lap 52. Well, lap 51 as well. They let some of the lapped cars that have been picked up by the safety car go, but not all. Max ended up behind the safety car, and the people behind Max just stayed there. I don't know why they didn't just keep letting them through.
No, that's the right idea. Let them stay. Let them stay.
It's because the safety car had picked up George Russell and not Max.
Yeah. Which, right, okay, that happens sometimes.
Well, no, the safety car should have just kept the green flashing light on until Max, the race leader, had caught up to it. But the safety car had gone don't pass me to George. And it's like, bit of a waste of time there. If it had just
long time for the field to bunch up.
If it had just let the runners go and caught Max instead, we wouldn't have had that whole cars need to be released, blah 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 blah. And maybe things would have been a bit quicker, but it's just the car was stuck in
Still wouldn't
gear.
have got restarted, yeah.
So
yeah, there is an FIA statement on it. I was speculating after the race, just talking to some fans in the train for the queue for the train. I thought it was maybe an electrical problem, similar to like in Formula E, where you can't touch the car because it's still live.
From what I saw on the broadcast, because they were trying to push the car, but it wasn't going anywhere.
I obviously couldn't see that from the track. So I was perhaps there was, because we just saw this shot of them just sort of staring at it and look, right, the light's obviously still flashing orange, which means the car's live. And then, also there was the FIA statement saying they couldn't put it in neutral. Isn't that why there was a big button on the front of the car that says neutral?
Yeah, but sometimes it just doesn't work. If the engine goes bang in a certain way, it just seizes and the gearbox locks. And even that button doesn't work. And obviously it's not complied with anything. It is just stuck in gear.
Yeah, they were very slow in getting the recovery crane on. As soon as lap 52...
I mean, there's only so many cranes, aren't there? So
there's quite a lot of cranes.
Yeah, but even so, it's not 100% coverage. It's not like, you've stopped at this exact location. If we swing round crane number 342, that can pick you up.
There isn't a crane at every recovery road, but like I think on the outside of the track, there's a crane at near enough every recovery road. And because he stopped internal, they had to bring it across the circuit. But there was one like right beside where it was stopped because I could see it. And then, as soon as it hit lap 52 and the lapped cars were still there, we knew it was finishing behind the safety car. Cue the booze. We need a rule change in Formula One.
I don't know. Everyone complained that the rules weren't followed, and now the rules are being followed, and everyone's complaining.
Let's just change the rules.
It just creates artificial entertainment. It's like playing 90 minutes of football, going to extra time, and then not bothering at the penalty shootout and just saying next goal wins.
That would be very exciting.
I mean, golden goal used to be a thing.
Yeah,
it did.
But that was when the teams were tied. It's not when Man City were beating Bournemouth 9-0 and then suddenly it's golden goal.
Come on.
Max had a 15-second lead.
That's what happens in Abu Dhabi. The stewards basically
and everyone
wins.
And everyone went ballistic because the rules weren't followed. Now the rules are being followed and everyone's going, oh, this was really boring. Like, you just can't win. Just accept the fact that the rules were followed and this is what happens. Yes, it was an anticlimax, but that was pretty much how it was going to end anyway. There is no way in hell that Charles was catching Max. There is no way in hell that George was catching Charles. It was gonna finish like that. So I don't get why everyone is having such a massive storm over the fact that the rules were followed when they created such a palaver that the rules weren't followed the last time we had a really late safety car. It is bonkers.
I did find it really funny when I seen Max fans on social media being like, oh, if they'd restarted the race, it wouldn't have been fair on Max because he had like an 18-second lead, and everyone's just piling on going, Abu Dhabi 2021, Abu Dhabi 2021.
Yeah, but, you know, the rules have been followed because of that investigation, and this is it. This is the result. If you don't like it, that's kind of tough at this point. This is the rule set.
It's just a bit of an anticlimax, I think.
Well, yeah, but sometimes it is.
Yeah.
It was going to be anticlimactic if there wasn't a safety car. Max would have just strolled to an 18-second win. Okay. What about that as a climax? There isn't. But nothing has to be exciting for the full duration.
Why not?
Yeah,
Because
why?
it's sport. You think the Bournemouth fans were there at the 90th minute when Liverpool whopped them 9-0? No.
Yeah,
I think they'd have f***ed off.
They were singing their hearts out.
In fairness, some Dundee United fans stayed when Celtic beat them 9-0.
Yeah, but that's Dundee. That's different.
What I will say, one positive from all of this, he won in Spa, he wins in Monza. Bert Mylander, take a bow.
Yeah. I mean, he did pull into the pits before it crossed the line, though.
But
So,
he still would
He
probably
was
cross
still
the line
first to
before.
cross the control
Yeah.
line. Because there
Now
is a
that.
control line in the pit lane.
I thought if they could use the red flag, because it
They-
brings out like a 2-lap sprint race, which is just the
Fun.
most incredible scenes in F1 history.
yeah, I
It's
know.
just
Everyone will go back to
Everyone
like, oh,
loves him.
look at Baku. And it's like, that was safety car and red flag because
They needed
the
red
circuit
flag.
that needed a red flag. This
Yeah,
didn't
tires go boom.
need a red flag, so don't have
And
a
the
red
FIA
flag.
said that. I think their statement was like the incident was not severe enough to require a red flag,
Exactly.
Yeah.
which is fair enough to be honest.
They have protocols and procedures.
Mm.
They actually bothered to follow said protocol and procedures. Ta-da!
And this is
This
after
is
last
it.
season where they were starting to get quite trigger happy on the red flag.
Yeah.
I mean, Saudi Arabia.
Michael red flag Messi.
I mean, they're not trigger happy on anything this year, are they?
No, they are the exact.
Other than 5-second penalties.
Or in Formula 2, 10 seconds stop go penalties.
Yeah, that was
apparently.
mad. That was nuts. I was like, oh yeah, that'll be a 5-second penalty. 10 seconds stop go.
Was that the Vips one?
What, the contact? Yeah, where he just nudged him.
I've not actually seen the contact, but I seen the penalty, and
was-
everybody's just like, "What?"
It was not a 10-second stop go. It was a 5-second causing a collision, 10-second causing a collision at tops, not a 10-second stop go. That was nuts. I mean, I'm all here for it just because it was Vips. But you know,
Lightly tap someone's rear wheel, black flag, out, disqualified.
get out of here.
Was it the feature or the sprint?
That was the feature race.
No, it's
Both
sprint.
feature races were apparently chaos with the stewards.
Just the end of the Formula 3 one, because there was a red flag, and then they were like, it's not going to restart. And then it was like, you're actually getting a time penalty because of track limits violations, and so are 6 other drivers, but we're not going to tell you how that affects the standings.
Yeah, they waited until
25
they applied
minutes.
all the time penalties, and then we're just like, Drogovich. Well, not
What's this?
Drogovich, sorry,
Oh.
Martin. Yeah.
Can.
Victor, yeah.
Yeah, Victor.
Victor the Victor.
Yeah, Drogovich won the title on Saturday without
Yes,
he did.
finishing the race. But
DNF.
more on that next
Yeah.
week. Because I actually got to see that race. I wasn't stuck outside.
Bravissimo.
Thank you, Monza. But yeah, and I didn't even try and get to the track in time on Sunday to watch the 2 junior category races because I knew I wasn't going to get in. So I'll watch them when I fly home, and then we'll talk about it next week. Do we have anything else to talk about from the
Yes.
race? Yes?
Prediction results.
Oh, yeah, and I
Um,
was meaning like from
but
the
as-
actual race itself.
I want to get onto the good bit.
Predictions
Yeah.
is coming. Oh, on a serious note, actually, I'll get Richard to put a link to this in the description. There is a petition has been started by a couple of Formula One fans about the treatment of some fans in the grandstands, sexual assault, literal assault, harassment, things like that. Formula One is obviously doing its Drive It Out campaign. They are starting their own to try and get Formula One to genuinely look at what's happening in the stands and to try and get these people who are perpetrating these things banned, get security and stuff more aware of what happens. So we'll put a link in the description to the petition. If you could sign it, I've shared it from the Turn 5 podcast Twitter as well. It'll only take you 30 seconds. Please sign this petition so we can make positive change at these races.
Good.
Predictions.
Yes.
One thing. Felipe Drogovich has been hired from Aston Martin.
Yes, he's
Is that
Aston
official?
Martin young driver.
Yeah,
Yes.
It's
Aston
like
Martin
their
put out a statement
development
earlier, I
program.
think.
It's
Yeah.
their development
Yeah.
program. I think.
It's rumoured that
Yeah,
he's
it's
going to be
basically
their
their young
reserve
driver.
driver next
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is
But-
right. I think he should have an actual seat, but
Problem is there is no seats.
there are.
Well, there are, but he's not going to go to Alpine.
Perhaps.
And right now we don't know if there's a Haas seat. We just think there's a.
Well, Mick isn't confirmed, so technically there's a Haas seat.
There's also an Alfa Romeo seat, I think.
Yeah,
Joe.
Joe is not confirmed.
not.
So
Is there any other seats?
uh,
Is Latifi
Latifi.
under contract?
no, only
Yeah.
only Albon has had a contract extension. Latifi has not.
Yeah. So there's seat. Perez had his contract extended,
Yeah.
didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a seat at Alpine, Haas, Alfa Romeo, and Williams. So basically, the lower half of the grid all have seats.
It's generally how it works, though, isn't it? You get a seat in the lower teams, and then you do well,
If you're
and you
good enough, yeah, you move
get a
up.
seat at the top teams.
I think De Vries put in a performance this weekend that could
Mate.
put him out for a seat.
What hell of a job application was that?
Yeah.
I've had 20 minutes of free practice. Out-qualify you. Outrace you. Score 2 points. Push you down to 21st in the standings. Get wrecked.
However, everyone's saying Nicholas Latifi is 21st in the 20 driver championship. That is right, but we must also remember that now means Nico Hülkenberg is 22nd in a 20 driver championship.
Of which he is not one of the 20. So he's done very well.
To be 22nd.
Exactly.
But
He's
De Vries
22nd of 20.
De
Of
Vries is
not
also
the 20.
not one of the 20, and he's 20.
But yeah, exactly. He's 20th of 20, yet he doesn't have a job.
Didn't he outperform Stroll anyway at them 2 races or something?
I think he did,
Because he was
actually.
up to like 12th in the standings, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he did. But that wouldn't be difficult.
We'll
It
see.
is Lance Stroll.
Yeah, it was good. It was because he got a P12 finish, and it wasn't until Latifi got a second P12 finish that Latifi moved
So-
above him.
Bahrain Stroll done better. Bollocks.
Murdered.
Bollocks!
At Saudi Arabia, he finished P12, which was the exact same as Sir Lancelot.
How do you finish in the same position, Ben?
Because he meant
They're
from
both
Bahrain.
12th.
Okay. It was the way in Saudi Arabia, he finished 12th, which is the same as Lance.
They
Bahrain.
crossed the finish line at the exact same time.
Same time. They were both P12.
But yeah, so predictions.
Yay! We'll start with
assuming-
social media.
I wonder who did well.
We'll start with social media. We had a couple of predictions in this week. Mason won with 4 points for correctly predicting Verstappen win and Russell on the podium. And KR45 was second by correctly predicting Verstappen win. Lapdown Showdown. We have a full house.
I wonder who that was.
Kevin
Thank you.
Kevin
thank you,
Magnussen.
Thank you.
Kevin Magnussen was lapped on lap 28 and was 1 lap down. And that is exactly what Ben said.
Cheers, FI8.
Is that the first time it's ever happened?
Yeah,
This
That is the
season,
first
yeah.
in history.
This
I
since,
think I
since
I
the
got 2
rebrand,
last season.
since
last
the
season-
rebrand,
I was sure the
Last season was
easier.
only one driver. This
Yeah, last
year,
season was a bit
it's
easier.
ramped up.
Stakes
The
are higher.
greatest prediction in history.
right? Bold predictions. Ben, no.
Well, I do.
He
What
contracted
was Ben's?
Albon P8.
Yeah, but I said if Albon got a point, 0.5 of a point.
Yeah, but
But
Albon didn't
Nick
get
Albon
points.
wasn't
there.
Nick for freeze had his car.
For freeze.
He got points.
Yeah, but what number was
Wasn't
in
that
it,
Albon?
Ben?
It's
45. Slightly higher than 23.
No car,
points.
just different number.
No points.
Can I get
But
a
that's
point
like
from
saying-
my lap down showdown? Incredible prediction.
Yes, a separate
In the lap-
category.
That's
Yeah.
the same
in the
Oh,
lap down
prediction.
showdown prediction. Yeah.
Bollocks. Am I winning
But,
that now though?
Probably, yes.
Sure, I got.
But,
to. If I'm not,
we've
it's
got-
rigged.
Ben, that's like saying Latifi drives the same car but with a different number. So if
Well, no.
Latifi got points, you wouldn't be able to claim it.
Because
It's both the Williams.
No, he means the exact
Latifi,
chassis.
exact same car. Albon would have been in that exact car.
But he
But
was.
he wasn't.
He's too busy getting fucking back issues or something. Appendix.
Appendicitis.
Yeah, back issues.
Fuck.
Ah, yes, my appendix, also known as my spine.
Anyway, how did Nia do with her bold prediction?
It's Ferrari and Red Bull contact. There was very, very little bit of contact between a Ferrari and a
counts.
Red Bull,
That counts.
but
Oh.
There was
because
contact.
it was so minute,
It's
It's-
contact.
it's a half point.
It was contact.
We'll send this to VAR and we'll come back to you next week.
It's a half point.
Yeah, it was contact.
It was contact.
Signs and it was contact.
We'll come back to you. If there was
There
definitely
was tyre
100%
banging
contact, then you'll get a
between-
point.
It was tire meets sidewall, side
See,
pod.
There's a
Point,
little.
and there's a point. It's
Okay.
contact.
It was very light contact.
It was still contact.
Okay, fine. Point. Chris, you said Verstappen would hit Perez.
That didn't happen.
It didn't happen. I said both Ferraris top 5.
That did happen.
That did happen. Podium predictions. Nia,
Oh dear, I remember. Yeah.
0 points.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah,
No,
because you went.
because for the last 2 years,
You
it's
lost
been
your
like
mind.
weren't expecting those podiums. So I thought 3rd year in a row. No.
You got greedy.
Yeah, that's exactly
Yes.
why it would
What
be
did Nia
boring.
put on the podium?
So she predicted a very understandable Verstappen pole position, but then a Hamilton Ocon Norris podium.
No.
I was
Ben,
hoping for the 3rd year in a row where it's like, but
No.
it didn't happen.
Ben scored 4 points for correctly putting Verstappen on P1 and Leclerc on the podium. There was a tie for 2nd place as Chris and Sonia both scored 5 points. And I got 16 points. I got the perfect podium and pole position. Dub. It's actually the first time there's been a perfect podium prediction since we introduced the pole position point as well. So, biggest
Breaking-
single points haul.
Breaking
I
news.
see.
Next week, Turn 5 introduces fastest lap point in their predictions. Just
Hopefully.
Richard's record.
No,
I
please.
could do the same as I done last week. I hope you're happy.
On F1 Play, I couldn't remember my predictions I'd done for the podcast, and I ended up predicting the exact same thing.
I completely forgot about F1 play, to be honest.
I always forget about it.
And for the second, is it second or third? Again, I got the exact podium right. Like I got it this week, I got it last week. It's like I need to start like actually looking at
F1 play.
odds. Well, no, because I actually submitted my F1 Play. I got 7 for Spa, I got 6 for Zandvoort, and I got 4 for Monza.
Yeah, but still not 10, is it? Come back when you get.
Yeah, you won't hear the end of it when I get 10.
I'm pretty if he doesn't get 10.
It's not going to happen, mate. I'm never going to get 10.
I think we should all
It's
put
'cause
the
I've-
same predictions one week, and if we all get in, there's like 8 Grand Prix tickets between us. Not just that, I think it's Paddock Club. Like, I
It's
think
VIP.
Yeah.
So
God.
turn 5 goes to the Formula One world finale.
That'd be oh
There's certain Grand Prix
finale.
you're not allowed to go to.
What?
What?
Unacceptable.
Monaco's on that list. I know that for definite.
That's
You're not allowed to go to
money.
I suppose if like they know it's going to be
money.
like, if they know it's going to be like a really busy event like Monaco, Abu Dhabi, makes sense.
It's a joke. I won. It said any Grand Prix.
I want to go to
It's
Saudi
any Grand Prix
Arabia.
with a star.
It's unacceptable. Anyway, the standings for the podium
It's any
predictions.
Grand Prix.
In 5th place is Nia on 35 points. In 4th place is Ben on 47. 3rd place is Chris on 49. And in 2nd place is Sonia on 65. And in 1st place is me on 65.
Right,
Do you know what? I'm not
could you-
last.
I've got the perfect podium in pal.
Yeah, that's right. That means I get to go first. Count back rules. Yay.
I was not listening to any of that, so I have no idea what's going on.
Good to know that you're in the room.
I
No,
was
I'm
signing
trying
up
to
for
read to
F1
see
Play.
if there's any. If it does say in the terms and conditions which ones are banned.
I was trying to redo F1 Play because I got a new phone and downloaded it and still forgot about it.
Professionals. I'm still top of the Fantasy F1 League, just in case you were wondering.
Not our fancy league though, because
Doesn't matter.
Not in it.
Doesn't matter.
I think that's the one that matters most.
Mate, the
No.
Discord one where there's more teams.
Let's
The
know
only
how-
one that matters is our fantasy league.
Do you
let's
know
not
how
talk about it.
annoying it's been the fact that I didn't use my first Mega Drive,
Mm.
and I'm like 100 points off.
It's quite
L.
funny.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's not good. If more than one entrant wins an F1 play competition, the relevant first prize or its equivalent cash value will be awarded to the person who submitted it first. So we can't all put in the same predictions and win all the Grand Prix tickets.
Damn it.
If we all
What
put
is
them
it?
in exactly the same time, then
Let's be honest, it's Formula One. They would go to the millisecond.
Yeah, it will be who has the best internet.
All do it at the same place at the same time.
Trafalgar Square in London.
No, because it will take Ben 3 hours to find it.
Well, I've been there now. I know where it is. Yeah, I've been there now.
Getting there was the problem, not being there. Once we found you, it was all right. But you getting there. It took Ben like
2 hours.
well done. Me, my dad, and my brother were sat in Cafe Nero by Trafalgar Square for maybe about 15 minutes or so. Then Richard arrived. 40 minutes later, Ben arrived because he got lost on the tube system.
You don't need
Yeah.
to get the tube to Trafalgar Square, and that's you there.
It's not that simple.
It's a different station name, but he went.
It doesn't. You don't
No, no,
get
no.
in at
I swear,
Paddington, and it's like Trafalgar Square this way.
No, but Ben, when you get into the west of London and you want to go to central London and you have a choice of east or west, why did you pick west?
So when I see
Because
first.
that is the direction you came from.
But when he was explaining that, and I swear you went that way, but didn't get the same train back to where you were to fix your mistake. You went to a completely different station.
Yeah.
You got off, you got a different line. It's nuts. I didn't decide to take it. Oh my God. Don't go to London with Ben.
Next time, if we
I know
meet
where
up
I'm
in
going
London-
now. I just stick to the one line. I know the Elizabeth line now. That's it.
Thank God for
that's as
I
far as
literally
go.
I shepherded him back onto that train and said, "This is the train." I watched him get on.
If we ever meet in London again, we meet at Paddington just so we don't lose Ben.
Do you know how far around London that is?
But you can meet at Tottenham Court. That's fine.
I'm not from London, they're not guys. I'm not from London at all.
This is the one by like 10 minutes away from Oxford Street or whatever.
There's Tottenham Court Road's the same street as Oxford Street. You just go a long way down Oxford Street. So it's like Oxford Circus, and if you actually bother to walk all the way up the street, it's Tottenham Court Road.
I don't remember which one was Oxford Street.
Oxford Circus is where the big Nike shop is, near the John Lewis shop.
Oh, the one we went in to look all for the Lego. Okay, okay.
And then Tottenham Court Road was the station that we were at when I discovered that we were walking the wrong way for Oxford Circus.
Yeah, wasn't there like a little Rasta band there as well?
I have
Yes.
some news.
Oh,
Just what we were talking about. I can't find it for F1 Play, but if you win the Global F1 Fantasy League, you win 2 Paddock Club tickets to any 2023 Grand Prix, with the exception of Singapore, Australia, Zandvoort, Monaco, and Abu Dhabi.
I understand only some of those.
Yeah, I understand Monaco. I understand Abu Dhabi.
Australia,
Yeah.
I kind of understand for most people it's too far to travel.
But
Yeah,
I don't
I think
care.
they'll fly you to Australia.
Yeah.
So
What happens if you live in Australia?
Yeah, that's-
There you go.
they'll fly you anywhere else.
Yes, I've got to go to Europe.
No, I mean, I think if I won it, I'd want to go. I think Silverstone would be one of the places I'd want to go to, or Brazil.
I mean, I think I'd go Japan just because it's so bloody far away.
Yeah, I'd work out which one costs the most. So then they're
Just
out of
send
pocket the
bills
most.
to Formula
Yeah.
One.
Bang for buck.
Yeah.
It's not even bang for buck. You don't pay anything to play F.
Exactly, but you know,
It's just luck.
where am I in the global league? Let's find out how
So far down
depressing
in the
this
global
is.
league.
Global league,
out of-
554,000.
I'm sure you can
Out
bring
of
that back.
1.56 million.
Yeah,
I,
Nia remembers how decimals work.
Shut up.
56.
I'm so used to saying currency and saying £1.56. Okay, shut up. I am 101.31 million up to 1.56 million. It's going great.
I'm 900 points off the lead.
Quite a lot, Richard.
Hell.
When you consider the lead is 3,425, you're nearly 1,000 points behind.
Yeah, have they used their wild card as well though?
No, they've used their Mega Driver. They used that this weekend.
Oh, so
The
it could be like 800
The
then.
highest player that's not used their second driver has got 3,365. So they're only 60 points behind and they've not used a Mega Driver.
I just looked on Soph's Discord server one. Out of 56, I'm 55.
Woo!
It's going great for me.
Yeah.
On the single entry, I'm very far down. I'm 26th.
I'm 4th in both.
You're far down.
So in the
But I'm
global,
winning the triple entry.
I'm not in the triple entry because I've only got
I'm
one
7th in the triple entry.
team. So yeah, in the global league, 652nd,
That's a very sus name.
652,000th. In the UK league, I'm 127,000th. In the Mercedes league, I'm 88.6 thousandth. Sophie's, I'm 31st. And in turn 5, I'm 3rd.
Must be nice.
I'm 106,000 in the UK and 99.9k in McLaren.
How many are in McLaren?
297.
I'm
Oh, there's only
250k.
286 in Mercedes.
Mercedes are a small team.
Haha, 8 times back-to-back World Constructors Championships.
Still have more historically.
Record for most back-to-back in history.
Doesn't matter. We have second highest constructors championships in the history of the sport.
Yeah, we have the only 1-2 of 2021. So
yeah, because that's the bigger achievement of the two.
Yeah, far bigger.
Yeah, obviously.
Getting a result in a rigged season, incredible.
Ben with the bold claims there. Rigged. Oh no, here comes FOM.
I made a bold prediction a couple of weeks ago, and I've been spouting it a couple of times, and it's still on. You know, I said Max is going to win every race for the rest of the season.
My bold prediction's still possible. It's just becoming more and more unlikely by the week.
Yeah.
What was yours?
So was mine.
At Mercedes to win one race this
Oh,
season.
right. Yeah. I think you've missed your chance. I think Zandvoort was it.
Well, you know, Singapore might be an opportunity.
Hey, let's do the Renault strat.
But no,
George Bennett.
Singapore could actually be an opportunity because the car looks good through corners, of which there's not many in Monza, and we were. There's quite a few at Zandvoort, and we were good.
But the construction of the corner, the geography of the corner, is very different between Zandvoort and Singapore.
Yeah, but it's two tracks where straight line speed isn't that big of a thing.
But the corners in Singapore are a lot pointier.
Yeah,
is my
really
Suzuka.
alert.
We're going to win Suzuka.
Suzuka, I would say, is more. Brazil
chance.
would also probably suit you quite well because of the construction of the corners. But I don't think Singapore you're going to do too hot just because it is a city circuit and it is very straight stop turn.
Ferrari might actually win in Singapore then.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. 'Cause I feel like that's going to be.
I don't think Red Bull is all that good through the corners. It's mainly on the straights.
I mean, they're just quick.
They're
just quick.
I think Ferrari would definitely be closer, but how close?
Oh, Singapore 2017. Singapore 2017.
You say that like I remember it.
Ferrari.
Oh, right, yeah.
You say that like I know what's going on.
So, do you know how when Sky Sports before a race show the Ferrari sandwich where Max is the middle of Vettel and Raikkonen? He's crash. Singapore 2017. It's going to happen again.
No. That's when it does, but Ocon wins his second race.
I mean, he's a Mercedes young driver. Does it count?
Yeah, but he's also in a quote-unquote Renault.
Ooh. It just goes to show there's Flavio Briatore on the pit wall.
With a remote control.
Well, no, it wouldn't be Ocon that would win the race. It'd be Alonso. Ocon would be the one that crashes.
What did you say your prediction was again?
What, that Verstappen would win every race between now and the end of the season?
Did someone say something about Mercedes winning a race?
Yeah, Chris.
Yeah, my bold prediction at the start of the season was that Mercedes will win one race.
Wasn't George win a race?
No.
Got pole.
George's career best finish is still second. Lewis nearly won a race.
I need George and Lando to win a race.
Done mad things, and then came in with a problem, pitted.
It wasn't AlphaTauri that ruined it. It was Bottas that ruined it. Let's be real.
Bowling. Can Bottas go bowling in Singapore?
He doesn't do it there. It's only in Hungary. Gone. It's a Hungaroring tradition.
Hungaroring special Bottas Boeing. It's quite funny actually, because this T-shirt's a couple of seasons old. It's got VB77 like engraved on the side. George messed up the Mercedes numbering. It was satisfying when it was 44 and 77. And 63. Bah.
Take it up with George.
Red Bull are now 1 and 11.
Yeah, that is quite satisfying. But then so was 11 and 33. That was nice as well. Who's going to be the brave driver and take 69?
Mazepin.
No, he was what, 90?
No, that's just what happened when Nicholas Latifi and Mazepin collided.
Haha, he's a funny.
It's funny because it's actually accurate.
All right, those jokes are allowed to be made now.
I mean, we made them anyway.
I mean, you say that, but Nia's fantasy team is called So Much Rear End, which I think is a bit sus.
The same number would go if Mick and Yuki collided as well.
69.
They add up to 69.
Yeah, but that's
What
not
are
the
you?
point.
Who are you, Ariana Grande?
Yeah.
Big math.
Christ.
Not the point.
Ariana
Don't
Grande
care,
here
I made
expecting
it.
us to do maths.
The same would be if that actually, no, to forget me. Don't mind.
George Russell and Nicholas Latifi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, don't put those evil thoughts in my head of Latifi and a Mercedes. Oh, no.
We could get really fancy and do for a three-way crash. And have Carlos Sainz, Sergio Perez, and Daniel Ricciardo.
I completely forgot which number Carlos Sainz was for a second.
55, 11, and 3.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know that now. Remember. Anyway, let's.
I think this is one of the
Moving
worst
on.
we've ever done.
Moving
What
swiftly on.
segment is this anymore?
Well, you forgot what number Carlos Sainz was. I was struggling to add them up, even the whole point of the conversation.
The target was predetermined.
I was still struggling.
Oh dear. Oh no. Anyway.
I got a B in maths somehow.
Are we done? I think we're done here.
Moving on. Singapore's up next, as we've established. Next week we'll be talking. Next week we'll be going into detail about the Formula 2 and Formula 3 action from Monza. But just very briefly, congratulations to Felipe Drogovich and Victor Martin, Formula 2 and Formula 3 champions respectively. No, they are not world champions because these are not world championships. I hate the fact that commentators call them world champions when they're not. There's only currently two, I think, one world champion being crowned for this year, and I think a couple still to come. I'm not too sure about rally and things. And that's Stoffel van Dorn. And Mercedes EQ, but Stoffel van Dorn, FIA world champion.
Did in the commentary, did any of them mention that Nick de Vries is a world champion as well?
Yes.
Okay.
I think they mentioned he's a champion. I don't know if they called him a world champion.
Yeah, because he is a certified world champion.
He is. He's a world champion. He was the first world champion.
Yeah, he was the first Dutch world champion.
Of hairdryers.
Not just that. He was the first Formula E world champion.
Funny.
But he was the first Dutch single-seater world champion as well. Yeah.
Yeah, have that must happen. Sure.
Yeah.
I've that one F1 World Championship now.
Yeah.
I think it's still worth more.
Max Verstappen and Nick de Vries have the same amount of world championships.
now.
currently.
It's now mathematically possible for Max to
Yeah.
wrap it up in Singapore.
Yeah, that could
is.
change.
And it's also highly possible when you look at Ferrari this season. But the only way for it to happen in Singapore is if Max wins the race and Charles doesn't score points. Because he has to outscore him by 22 points.
It's possible.
Ferrari kaboom!
Yeah.
What happens if they both don't score?
It's still possible.
Then go to Suzuka.
Yeah, Max will
it's
have to
still
score to establish a
22 points.
bigger gap. So
Fair. So yeah, that's possible, but we'll touch more on that next week? The week after?
It's the 24th, isn't it? That's Singapore, am I right? No, it's the 30th.
It's the
Oh my
first.
god.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not
So it's the
October.
week after.
Couple
Next
weeks.
next week is supports,
Mm.
and the
And-
week after is Singapore preview.
Yeah, supports and general rambling.
Classic.
Supports
As
and
always
probably
from us.
Singapore. Well,
Hopefully, we'll come up with some better content than which driver numbers add to 69.
I mean, you didn't exactly help that cause, did you?
Hey, look, I just ran with the crowd.
I mean, we were just chatting about
Yeah.
driver numbers. I thought of something funny and we just went completely off track.
Yeah, I blame you for this, Chris. You mentioned the number.
Yeah, I mentioned the funny
I'll take
number.
this.
Now it's what combination of driver numbers will reach 420?
That's just when Lando crashes into the side of K-Mac.
Yeah.
Boom, already thought of that.
Actually, something from Monza.
2
There's
steps
been a
ahead.
lot of chat about people throwing at the track that apparently damaged Max's engine cover. That is not true. There is the possibility of something being thrown at the track. You do see a glint from Bottas's onboard on the final lap, but that's not what damaged the engine cover. Someone did find footage on like lap 30, and the damage to Max's engine cover is already there. So it's not something being thrown at the track that caused the damage, but anything being thrown at the track is a big no-no.
The only thing I saw about Max's engine cover was what looked like the speed tape had come off and was just sort of hanging on and flapping about in the background. That's the only thing I saw.
Yeah, they were trying to say that it was caused by something being thrown on at the track. But for one, it was the wrong side of the car. Because it was
boomerang throw.
Yes.
Yeah, it was on. It was on the side of the,
3-point alley-oop over to the other side.
yeah, it was on the side of the car that was on the outside of the track, and the only seats at the Lesmos are all on the inside. So it literally couldn't have been from that.
Yeah, if they're on the outside of the Lesmos, you'd be about 3 miles away. It's a massive gravel track.
Such a big
There he is.
Target acquired.
Speaking of that, there was a graphic that they showed. I don't know if they showed it on the world feed, but in circuit when Max went to overtake Charles, and they showed like the arrows appearing, the distance. It was like target acquired, incoming.
Missile lock.
That's literally all I could think of.
I mean,
what is this graphic?
It's kind of cool that you
It
can.
is a cool graphic,
It
but-
gives you an idea of how far it actually is because you don't have that. Like, it's just okay. The car's in front, but how far actually is this
And they done
distance
one
between the
with-
pixels?
They done one with Saints as well, and it was a time gap that they showed instead
Yeah.
of the actual distance.
Yeah, it's the same thing, but they can alternate between time and distance. So they had it was time and then it switched to distance. And it was like, ooh, fancy.
One criticism I have of attending a Grand Prix, and this is from both Silverstone and Monza. At least at Monza, I could see the big screen. At Silverstone, I had to have my phone out and like zoom in just to be able to read the order because the screens were so far away. But they don't show gaps. And there's so many people that the mobile network hit themselves. And so you can't access live timing. So you're just sort of having to guess at how far people are away from one another.
You know what you could do?
Look
You
at
have
the
a
timings.
stopwatch on your phone.
Look at the cars that go past as well.
Do it the old-fashioned way.
You see, that gets a bit confusing when lapped cars start getting in the way.
What?
Um,
Click.
Oh, that's the wrong car. Don't click that one. Oh, look, that's what. Click. Come on.
You'll see when you get the videos of the speed that they're carrying through some of these corners. That's just not, the human
But
reaction.
surely
is
you
not
can
fast enough.
identify a Haas from a Red
yeah,
Bull.
You can identify the cars, but it's more like
Big Ferrari.
Oh! Click, click, click.
But yeah, it's a bit annoying. Please just show us gaps on the big screen, please. And thankfully, circuit commentary was partially in English. They sort of handed off to each other.
Was it
but
the
in
names?
No, it wasn't actually. There was two commentators. There was an English commentator and an Italian commentator, and they sort of handed off to one another. But
Oh,
the English commentator would hand off in English, and the Italian commentator would pick up on his point, but in Italian. So you're getting like half a conversation, and then they start talking about something completely different. And it switches back to English, and he's like, yeah, what you said. What did he say?
Good commentator, that.
What you said?
Yes.
But he's like agreeing with what he said, and it's like, yeah, but what did he say? You can't just say, I agree with you. It's in a different language, please.
Yeah, but he obviously understands both, so he doesn't want to be repeating himself. God, Chris, just learn another language.
I know.
Learn Italian.
Yeah.
For like the 2 hours of the race.
Yeah.
Grazie,
And-
ragazzi.
And also for when you order a pizza as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
So for some context, before the podcast tonight, I went out to get some pizza.
Chris got the wrong one.
Yeah, and the guy didn't speak English. And so I'm
I
looking at the
wonder
menu,
why.
Yeah.
which is in Italian. And I speak very, very little Italian. And I see the words pepperoni with the same spelling as it is in English. It's pronounced exactly the same as well. So I assume I'm going to get what I know is pepperoni. For those of you who are not sure, it's like a sliced sausage. It's very tasty. I don't get pepperoni. Instead, I get peppers. It's very sad indeed. So I just took them off and had a cheese pizza instead.
Margarita.
When in doubt.
Can you stop saying cheese pizza, please?
I'm doing it
It's
for the
nice.
English people,
Most people know it as a
what
margarita.
margarita is.
but they also know what cheese is. In the words of James May, today we have cheese versus cheese.
Most people who will be listening to this know what margarita is. Just say margarita.
Also, hello to my Italian friends that I met on the train. Welcome to the Turn 5 podcast. Anyway, thank you very much for watching the Turn 5 podcast. We will see you next week for the support races review and other general Formula One ramblings. Well, you won't see Nia because she's going to see some washed up YouTubers, as we said at the start.
Dan and Phil reviews coming.
Yeah. She'll hopefully rejoin us in 2 weeks for the Singapore preview. Which, Nia, this will be your first Singapore Grand Prix as well.
Yeah, it will be.
I hope you're ready for the longest race of your life because it always lasts near enough the full 2 hours.
What time does it actually start?
It starts at a reasonable time.
Which
Because
is
it's nighttime there, so it's at like 2 or 3 for us.
Yeah, it starts at
As in
8
PM.
o'clock Singapore time.
Yeah, no, AM, obviously.
Which is 2 o'clock here, so 1 o'clock UK time.
Yeah.
surprise, surprise. I'll probably be working because I work in hospitality.
The day off, book it off now.
Lol.
Well, I will
I
say-
booked so many days off.
Or
You're going
just
to watch
the
these
race
washed up
afterwards.
YouTubers.
Yeah, or what I'd do, I'd watch the 2017 Singapore highlights because knowing Chris will probably bring it up at some point during that review. So
Yeah, you need to know what happened in 2017.
I mean, he brought it up
Remi-
now, and we're not even doing Singapore
Yeah.
yet.
Exactly.
Remind me in 2 weeks' time.
Richard, remember Monaco last year when we just sat and chatted about Singapore instead?
This is where this is all stemmed from.
So I don't think you appreciate how much time I have to spend editing things. I never forget what we've done because I spend at least 3 times as long as everyone else on this podcast because we might talk about it for an hour, but then I've got another hour and a half, maybe 45 of editing.
That's your fault for telling us you're a good editor.
I never said that.
No,
I said I have software.
Yeah, you said you had software. That's it.
Yeah, that
was the only prerequisite. Have you seen my thumbnails?
They're better than what I could come up with.
It's made on Paint.
The epitome of professionalism.
Literally make it on Paint and just
The fact that we
rub
got
out last
email-
week's calendar and then put out the new track and change the number and that's it.
The fact that we got an email a couple of weeks ago saying like people are impressed.
We've changed
Let's be honest, the content covers the thumbnail. I hope.
Yeah, we hope that
If our content is as bad as my thumbnails, God save us.
Anyway,
Richard, how's the blooper reel coming along?
give us an update on that.
It's in the bin.
Oh.
No,
Richard,
no,
what are you
no,
saying?
come
Oh,
on.
Why are
we
we
were talking about it about 6 months ago.
Mate, we've been
Nothing's
talking about it for a
changed.
year, and
What do you expect?
I can't be asked, mate.
Yeah.
It just takes so long.
That was going to be one of the best videos ever made. Just
If
all
I
of us
ever get a
swearing.
lot of time, I will put some time into it. But at the minute, I have like a week to try and sort out where I'm going to be living next Monday. So
That's
not
an L.
my priority right now.
That's an L. Anyway, thank you very much for watching the Turn 5 podcast. Rest in peace to the blooper reel. We'll see you next week. Ta-ra.
I thought you were going to say the Queen.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. You said rest in peace. Oh no.
Well, before we finish recording then, there was 2 minutes silences this weekend, once before FP1 and once before the race for Her Majesty the Queen Elizabeth II. Rest in peace to her as well. Thank you very much for watching. Ta-ra.
God save the
We
king.
end it on
God save the
another
king,
one
yeah.
bites the dust.